Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. We are back here, virtual, but together and ready to go.
Yes.
Okay, so the last time we left you guys was after we had watched It Ends With Us. And, we didn't get any negative feedback about our personal thoughts from last episode, but there's been quite a bit of negative feedback in general.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's like, I know. I mean, I still feel the way I feel about the movie, but I just like, when it comes to the drama, and like, it just is so insane that people just completely decided that Blake Lively was enemy number one.
I know. And we really, honestly, we didn't even have a lot to go off of why she should be the villain in this, in my opinion.
I know, other than it was like as soon as people felt like she was handling the press stuff badly, they just completely turned on her.
I know.
And then I don't know. It just seemed, I was just listening to this random podcast popped up. I can't even remember what they were called. And they were kind of talking about it a little bit. And the one girl was sort of like, but isn't it weird too that the whole cast would unfollow him and like not be associated with him? And then the other girl's like, no, like Blake Lively is the worst and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, how do we know that he wasn't part of the problem too? Or like maybe they just had creative differences and then when people are like, oh, well, her and Ryan are so powerful in Hollywood and blah, it's like, what are we talking about? Like maybe on that set, they were, the most well-known people, but that doesn't mean they hold all this. But I don't know. It's so confusing.
I know. I can't remember if we said it on the podcast like previously or not, but wouldn't it be kind of like the ultimate plot twist if Blake and Ryan were actually these Hollywood villains and they just had us all fooled this entire time?
I know, and I'm kind of like living for it.
Yeah, like I don't even care. Like
I know, like why not be villains? And like Ryan Reynolds is like a big movie star. Like he's done a lot of acting over the years. Like he's not just some rando.
Right. Like he's been in so many major films that have been really
for
successful.
So long.
Yeah.
Like, you might hold a little weight. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it just is so mind blowing the amount of hate and the switch up and some of the stuff, like the clips I have seen of like Blake, like, no, they're not coming off well. Like that old interview that everybody is bringing up. I can't remember that girl's name.
But
it's like, yeah, that doesn't look great, but like, I don't know.
But it's so unfair too because we don't know the full context. We don't know that one interview, that is the most popular one that you were talking about. And the girl's like, oh, I didn't even know that this other drama was going on. Like, yes, you did. Like, you did know. And you chose to put this out there now. And like, I don't know. It just feels like, I feel like in other, like if you put all these things like at a different time or put them out there separately, it would just be like, okay, so maybe they were having a bad day. It wouldn't be like, oh, Blake Lively's the biggest villain in the whole world and look how horrible she is. Like people just decided to bandwagon against her for
I know, and now
basically no reason.
Right, and then everybody's coming out of the woodwork and like bringing up the Gossip Girl alleged drama again, and it's like, everybody is settled down.
The Gossip Girl stuff annoys me because, I mean, obviously we feel a strong connection to that show. So, we were very invested and still are invested emotionally in all of that. But like, I just think that if some of the things that were kind of thrown around were true, it doesn't surprise me because they were all young. They were all like climbing the ladder of fame. They were like, she and Blake Lively were total like it girl status with Gossip Girl. Like they were all so hot that I would be shocked if there wasn't a little bit of drama that was going on behind the scenes.
Right, and it's like if you have sometimes you have coworkers that it's like you work fine together, but you're not best friends,
And
and
that's
that's fine
fine.
too. Yeah, it's like doesn't mean there's all this deep-rooted hatred.
Right. Or like for sure there's times where like, a coworker, even like I say something or you say something where the other person is probably like, "Oh god, like really?" Like
Right,
it just happens. It doesn't
right,
mean that all of a sudden there's something more to that. It just is what it is.
right.
And
I know,
especially
it's
when they're
just
going
insane.
press stuff, it's like, don't you realize that when people are on press junkets, it is literally all day, every day they were doing press and
Right.
interviews? Like, you're going to be pretty annoyed with that after a while.
Right. And getting asked the same questions all the time. And it's like, that's going to get really boring. And you might start getting a little sassy or like wanting to talk about something else. And like I said, like, not all those videos look great, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to, I don't know.
It
it
just
doesn't mean there's a villain and a hero in this situation.
Right. And just when I maybe it's just me being blinded because I do like Blake Lively, but I just nothing that I've seen so far has made me hate her.
No.
And with the situation with It Ends With Us, it is just really weird that from the outside it looks like the Justin Baldoni is the one who maybe did something wrong, whether he did or not, like who knows. But just like you said, the unfollowing, doing completely different press, like it looks like that. So I don't know why people twisted it all up into something completely different when we literally don't know any information at all.
Really, I know. It's insane. And it's like then there's like all these little like breadcrumbs getting spilled out and like Justin hiring a crisis PR person and
Yeah.
it's like what is going on?
I
Like
know. I don't, and I
it,
didn't get that either because he's not the one in crisis right now.
no, and it's like I don't know if they're trying to save the movie or like and who knows, maybe when they're like, okay, how are we going to present this heavy topic movie? He thought they should present it in one way. They thought they should, or like Blake thought they should in another way. And then it's like, that's just the way it went. They just didn't agree on it. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And
It
I
doesn't
guess
mean
it doesn't
someone's in the
mean,
wrong.
yeah, it doesn't mean that there's like hatred and animosity and all that stuff.
You know?
But it just makes me wonder too, like, yeah, I know, like you just said that I would think that Ryan Reynolds is pretty powerful in the entertainment industry. I would think that Blake Lively is too, just because she's had like a pretty good career, like of steady big movies over the years. And obviously they're a power couple. But I just don't know. Is it to the level where Blake was able to be cast in this movie and fully take everything over from like what sounds like directing decisions, marketing decisions? and not just like that of like what she's going to say, but what some of her other cast members and Colleen Hoover are putting out there. Like, is it really that she could have that much control?
I know, and, like, I was thinking too, I'm like, Jenny Slate, her career isn't nothing anything to scoff at either. It's like,
Yeah,
she should be able to hold some weight in the industry too, like, I
right.
don't know. It just seems I just don't know. Weird.
Yeah, I don't either. And I mean, what we said when we did our movie review, like I still completely like stand by everything that I said, and we even mentioned it that there were some things that we wish that they would have like done differently or changed or whatever. But I kind of think that they did, like, in terms of like from a marketing perspective, like I think that they did a good job like business wise marketing the movie. Like it
I
got
know, and
people
right.
interested.
I know, and then it's like all the criticism of, like, her hair care line coming out and her, like, promoting that during the press of this, it's
Mhm.
like, what what is the big deal with that? Like, I don't know. It's like 2 different things, and it's like you can't control when something you've allegedly been working on for 7 years is
Yeah.
gonna come out the same time as your movie. I don't know, it just seems so
But
weird
like
to
we
nitpick
said,
all this stuff.
yeah, and like we said before, I think just between us, it was like you can't control either what questions you're being asked, especially
Right,
from movie press. Like if a interviewer says, "Blake, and you just released this hairline, like how is that going? Have your co-stars used the products?" Like you're answering the question. You're not,
right,
I mean, I just thought that was silly. And then, of course, I saw that there were many interviewers that brought up like stuff with Taylor Swift. It's like, of course, they're going to bring up Taylor because they know that Blake
right.
and Taylor are friends. They've seen her at the Eras tour. And Taylor obviously has been a huge topic of conversation. So, like, yeah, they're going to bring it up. Like,
I know. And then people are, like, using that too. They're like, "Oh, well, she's friends with Taylor Swift, so that should tell us everything we need to know." Or there's that video I just saw of Zendaya, and then it was Blake, and then Emily Blunt sitting at the fashion show or whatever, and it was like Zendaya kinda, like, looked like a different whatever, and then, Blake and Emily were, like, chatting and giggling and stuff. And then I saw a comment that was like, "Emily Blunt gives Mean Girl vibes too." I'm like, "What are you people talking about?" Like, you're
like,
just, like,
what?
reaching.
Like, come on. It's just totally unfair.
I
Like,
know, like, it's just, like, nitpicking everything, and then I seen a video too of, Ellen Pompeo. Do you remember that video where it was, like, Blake was, like, kinda sitting there just smiling, and then Ellen Pompeo was, like, scooted all the way over with, like, some of the other people. I think it was the Grey's Anatomy people that were with her too.
no,
And
I don't remember
they're
that.
like, "Well, we trust her, Meredith Grey is not
Like,
trying to be near her." It's like, she's with her friends. Like, what do you want? Like, it's just so weird. And who knows, maybe is stomping around Hollywood being an
yeah.
absolute nightmare. Like, I don't know, but it's like, calm down, dude.
Yeah, I just can't. We just don't have any like real concrete proof. Like, I haven't even, not that I'm scouring the blind items, but over the years, I haven't even seen like horrific blind items about like her or Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
Like,
the only ones I've heard is like that he's controlling or something. And I'm like,
doesn't surprise me.
right. It's like maybe he is. But then it's like, oh, we're not gonna let her be a victim of that though because she's
Yeah.
evil. It's like,
I just felt like yes, they could have, maybe like prefaced some of the domestic violence in the press, and I think that they probably should have done a better job of like giving out the hotlines or websites or whatever for awareness. But at the end of the day, to me personally, I felt like going to see the movie and then watching this character go through this was like more impactful than just being shown in a trailer like this is a movie all about domestic violence. Like
Right.
I you
Or just
know
like right, or just like like if she had a bunch of these like rehearsed answers too of just like statistics all the time,
mhm,
it's like, well, people would probably be like, oh, well, that just sounds rehearsed and blah, blah, blah.
right.
And it's like, it is weird too. Like, I don't know if they handled the marketing well, like maybe not, but I don't know how you're supposed to in a with this type of topic. And I think I told you this, but I'm like, during the Hunger Games, like a movie about kids killing each other, Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Liam Hemsworth are all goofing off on the red carpet and all dressed up, and
Mhm,
nobody cared about that. Like, that's a heavy topic too,
right.
and I don't know, it's just like, is this going to set a new precedent for how people behave for the red carpets and
Y
premieres? And then it's like, what is she supposed to wear too? Like, not just a pantsuit?
yeah,
It's like, are we not allowed to dress up at the premieres that everybody's been doing since the dawn of time for all different types
yeah.
of movies?
Well, and also, I mean, what I guess I just don't get like what type of message we're trying to put out there then. Like
Right,
if we care so much about what she's wearing, then like does it even matter what she's saying? Like
right,
I guess I don't get like why people are mad about that. Like if you're gonna
right,
shoot like if you like you just said if she wore like a pantsuit, would people care about that still and be like, well, we're all dressed like literally look at how many things we've talked about where we're dressing on theme for movies.
right,
Well, what are we saying the theme is for like domestic violence? Like I just don't
right.
get why it suddenly is an issue when she just tried to dress up for her movie premieres and
That
show that
normally everyone praises her for.
yeah, and
So it's
can't you also like I just felt like the whole message of how and I'm sure this was so much more in the book too, but how Lily Bloom like went had this generational trauma, ended up going through that herself, but still like she didn't lose herself and she had these other facets to her that she didn't let this one thing define her. She was so much more than that. And then she finally found the strength to overcome and make the change. Like, isn't that beautiful? Like, why can't Blake come out and look beautiful in a floral dress?
right.
I don't know.
I know, it's just like, I don't understand where it all came from
Me
at the end of
either.
the day, like, this big switch up, and that is just really, I don't wanna say scary, but, like,
But it
disheartening.
is kind
Yeah, it's
of
like, out of nowhere, it can just all be ripped away and everyone can hate you, and
because
it's just
literally
such a
like,
weird thing.
what was it? Was it the week before or a couple weeks before that Deadpool vs. Wolverine came out? And
Yeah,
everybody was literally dying over Blake when she brought Gigi Hadid to the red carpet. Like,
right.
and then all of a sudden, a couple weeks later, a complete 180. Like,
Well,
that
and,
is
like, right.
terrifying.
And, like, when people were like, they're trying to have their Barbieheimer moment or whatever, or is that what they called it?
Yeah.
Barbie. Um, it's like, it's kinda rare that 2 married people have movies come out at the same time, like, why
Yeah.
can't they show up to each other's premiere? Like,
Right.
what is wrong with that? Like, it just
And
doesn't.
like we talked about before too. Remember when the premieres used to be like, I mean, it literally was oh, I'm bringing my girlfriend, my boyfriend, whoever, and bringing some of my friends because I'm starring in this movie. So
Right.
why are we now mad that Hugh Jackman came to the It Ends With Us premiere? Like,
Right.
well, they're friends supporting each other. Since when is that
Right.
wrong?
Right. I know. That's a great question. So I guess if you're Blake Lively, it is, and like we said, it's like I'm not saying, she fully handled everything correctly. Like I don't know what the right answer for that is, but it's like I just think the insane hate switch up was just like, whoa.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I will say, like, I had posted like our TikTok with that Watch What Happens Live where Colleen Hoover was on it, and like that literally blew up, which was crazy because we started getting comments that were just really hateful about like Colleen Hoover and Blake Lively. And it's just like I was so just like, what is going on? Like the TikTok that we made was not even saying anything negative. It was literally just like, oh, like I wonder what this means. Like the movie hadn't come out yet, and it's just
Right.
like, why are like I just cannot understand the hate. Like it was
I know.
so aggressive.
And it's like everybody, like every comments you're reading on any video, it's just all the same thing. Like nobody
Hmm.
is saying anything or adding anything to the conversation. It's just all the same, like hatred
Yeah.
points.
I mean, I people were trying to bring up like random like Reddit threads about stuff from like years and years ago, and I mean, I just fully stopped engaging with anything after like the first few days, but it was just like every time I would open the app, there would be a new one, and it would be some random like, well, Colleen Hoover, I saw this Reddit thread and she said blah 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 7 years ago and people didn't take kindly. I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Right. And it's like, and here's an idea too. I don't know if people forgot this, but if you don't want to go support something, then just don't.
Yeah, I guess did everybody get sent like free tickets and we
Right.
didn't get those in the
You know?
mail or something? Like
I know, it's fine to give your opinion on the internet and everything, but it's like if you're that passionate about something, I rather just like, okay, I'm just not gonna support it and I'm not gonna give it money and
and that's
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just at the end of the day, I don't
Because if
know.
you're not even going to go watch it, or if you didn't read the book, it's in my mind, you just don't even know what it's truly about.
Right.
So yeah, I do think, and I think Amanda Hirsch said this, and she said like I thought that Blake Lively was one of the like untouchable celebrities, and that this is kind of shocking, and just bringing it down to like a more humanistic level. Like even though celebrities are held to a different standard and get obviously a lot of perks that us normies don't have, they still are people, and how absolutely jarring it must be to wake up one morning and see that every single person on the internet, it seems like, hates you. I mean, that is just a terrifying thought.
Literally. It really is. Just like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments.
Yeah,
It's wild.
just spewing, and especially when you thought it was fully going to go the other way.
I know, and that people are gonna love your movie. This is gonna be your big moment. And just like
Mhm.
ripped right out from underneath
I
you.
know. But whatever. I mean, we'll see. I am curious to see I guess when and if it starts or begins with us? Starts with us?
Oh, yeah, it starts with us.
Okay. I don't know why I cannot get the title right, but it'll be interesting to see, what happens with that. And
I know it kind of feels like at this point, maybe not.
I know maybe
Nothing.
it won't happen. I know. I don't
Anywho,
know. Anyway, yeah, let's just move on from that. Speaking of movies, though, and since you brought up the Hunger Games, I did watch the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes on the plane. And unfortunately, I did not get to see the last 12 minutes of it because we landed. So
hmm,
I didn't see the very end. But
get on Wikipedia,
yeah, I know and
read
see.
what happened.
But I mean, I overall like I enjoyed it. I liked seeing kind of like more of the beginnings of the Hunger Games and like the backstory of President Snow and all that stuff. Like with anything else in like the original Hunger Games movies, like, there's some parts in there where it's like a little juvenile, but it's like, well, it was a teen fiction book
Right.
anyway. But yeah, like I liked it. I know you watched it like when it actually came out. So that was a little while ago and you talked about it, but I
I
thought it
know I'm
was fun.
excited for the new book and movie they're doing with
So is the book out already or not yet?
no, I think
Okay.
it's supposed to be out spring next year. I might
Oh
be
my
wrong on
gosh.
that.
Wow.
Then I think the year after it's supposed to be the movie. I might be wrong on that.
I wonder, but if something will change, because isn't like Rachel Segler in kind of some hot water right now with some like comments that
Political.
yeah.
I know. Well, yeah, I just saw that. I'm like, I don't know. And then I just saw. So when is the new Snow White actually coming out?
I don't know because I remember like what
They had to like
feels like it was
redo
a
it.
year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, where because I remember she was like bashing the original and people
Yeah.
were all mad about that. That was like the first thing. And then I honestly forgot about it. And then I saw some promo or something for it, recently, but I have no idea when it's supposed to come out.
I know, I feel like it's been forever, and then I just seen a picture of her, like, Snow White dress,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it sounded like people didn't really like the dress, but they didn't give her her red bow.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. I don't really know why we need to remake some of these movies. Like, especially the old Disney ones that were like animated. Why do we need to
Yeah,
make it live action? Some things just don't translate right, you know?
I know, and the fact that they, 'cause if I'm remembering correctly, I didn't watch Snow White as much, but she only has the 1 song, right? That she sings, or 2 maybe?
Yeah, she doesn't do a ton of singing. I mean, the little dwarves have their song.
Right, because she's such a talented singer. That why like, she's gonna be, like, underutilized in that way, but yeah, I did see the stuff where she was, like, talking about, like, Free Palestine, and
Mhm.
that's, like, a huge divide
Now
with people.
go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. And it also feels like because then I read something else. There was some other thing with like the Palestine Israel thing that like she had made a comment about somebody else. I don't remember what it was, so I'm not gonna even like go there. But I wonder if like when they first cast her for Snow White, it was so long ago. And if now that all this
I know,
is
it's like it's already filmed.
yeah, they can't really do anything
I
about
know,
it.
and they already had to redo stuff with the 7 Dwarfs and everything.
Yeah.
It's like it's just like a nightmare
I
Um,
know.
it's with that stuff, it's like you just have to like, all right, well, we're gonna put it out. We've already invested this
Well,
much
because
into it.
imagine how much money it's cost them so far.
Hmm.
I mean, they can't back out of it now, or else Disney's going to take a massive hit. I mean, not
Yep,
that they can't afford it, but still,
I know. I know.
maybe it'll just end up going straight to Disney Plus.
Streaming, yeah.
Yeah,
Like just throw it on there.
secretly, like they won't even, it's probably already there. Like they're just not
I
even.
know. You know,
Oh,
the CEOs are like, oh
I
gosh,
know.
here we go again.
I know. I know. But yeah. Also, big news that was a long time coming. Ben and J-Lo officially have announced their separation, and J-Lo has filed for divorce.
I did see that.
So that's not necessarily big news because I think we knew that for a while when they were spending virtually zero time together. Like it was pretty obvious. But I was kind of interested in the fact that they didn't have a prenup. And it just kind of made me think about that. And I don't remember. I wrote this note down a while ago, so I'm not really sure what I read about it or what I saw, but it was when people were talking about like Taylor and Travis potentially getting engaged and stuff, and like, will they have a prenup? Will they not? And for two like really big stars like Taylor and Travis or Ben and J Lo, it just makes me wonder like, is it fully necessary to have a prenup?
Right.
Like, I don't know. What do you think? Like, it totally get it if like I married Ben Affleck. Like, I have nothing. I'm hoping to God we don't have a prenup because that would be great for me. But if you're kind of on an equal playing field, like, is it fully necessary?
Right. It's like, are you gonna real I know, unless it's kind of like unless you have like properties together and you want that divided up, like I feel like that'd be more important. But I don't know because if royalties on like music, because J-Lo's also a musician, like, and I
Hmm.
don't know how all that works, but it's like if her song gets played in something, I wonder then maybe he could like get the money from it too.
Yeah, that's true.
But I still feel like I mean, I can't picture it. Well, maybe it would get ugly. I don't know, but it just seems like it'd be unnecessary for it to get financially ugly when they both, like you said, are very successful people.
Yeah, I guess I just don't see like I when that came out as part of their divorce, they're like, and they don't have a prenup. It's like, okay, is that
Right.
hugely damaging to one
Right.
party or another? I don't
And it's
really.
like you're probably gonna have to settle all these like little thing, like if they do have the properties and stuff in court anyway. So it just
Mhm.
feels like, well, let's just discuss this and that. And then plus they probably have all their stuff under like businesses too,
Right.
that Jennifer Lopez probably can't touch some of his stuff anyway because it's like a whole thing. So
Mhm.
I don't know though.
Yeah, and they didn't have kids together or anything like that. So, and they didn't, as far as we know, they didn't start any businesses together. So it's not like,
Right.
I don't know. And it also made me think, do you feel like these huge celebrity couples can last? You know, when
I know.
it's two big names.
And it's like if like who is good enough for J-Lo, you know what I mean? Or
Hmm.
like even like Beyonce and Jay-Z, it's like, yeah, they're gonna stay together because who is worthy of Beyonce?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like these weird things. Like if you can have anybody you want, it's just weird to think like, why would I have to stay married to
Yeah.
this person, and it's like you have people kissing up to your ego all the time. And
Mhm.
then if your spouse isn't doing that, it's like, well, I can just walk into any bar, restaurant, and everybody will
Yeah,
be kissing my butt the whole
right.
time. So it's like, what's the incentive? I don't know. Sometimes it feels like they can, and I feel like the more public they are, then that also puts even more pressure on the relationship of being like couple goals, and then everybody analyzing your stuff and lip
Mhm.
reading your videos. Like, I just saw that video of Jennifer Gardner and Ben Affleck and their kids, like, or two of their kids maybe sitting there eating lunch. And I was
Oh,
like
yeah.
looking at it. And I'm like, why am I watching this child eating his lunch? And I like flipped it, like, this is making me really uncomfortable. Like, I just feel
I
like if you
know.
had eyes on you all the time and your relationship, that would be so stressful.
I know. Even sometimes, like, remember, was it the Emily Blunt and John Krasinski like red carpet thing?
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I trying to replay this to see what I think they said to each other? Like, I'm
Right.
trying to read their lips so hard to
I
see what
know.
they said, and it doesn't
Like,
even matter. Like, that's weird behavior.
I know. But yeah, I know it just does. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised that they just, I don't know. I mean, we don't know them obviously, but it just seemed like he was not into the way she wanted to live.
Well, no, and I didn't watch her documentary that she did, but from what I heard from like little recaps and stuff, it sounded like Ben was like in there saying, I tell her that she doesn't need to be doing this stuff. Like it almost just seemed like he was very openly not on board with some
Right.
things. And
I know.
how can it work then?
Right. Like, I feel like he just wants to like relax. Like, I love when you'd see those videos of them or like pictures when he'd be like asleep on the boat. It's like sleeping away.
I loved too when they had those couple moments where like he opened the door for her or whatever and then like slammed the car door and J Lo, totally aware of all the paparazzi, is just in the car like like everything's fine, thank you. Like, and Ben's just so over it, or seemingly over it. We don't like really
Hmm.
know, but yeah, I don't know. I guess you're right too. It does seem like some of the celebrity couples, that if they are really popular, if they do stay out of the public eye and maybe we only see them on red carpets or award shows or something, that they seem to be more successful versus ones that are so open about their love, I guess, or not even just that. It's like they're trying to make sure that we know, oh, we're in love. Oh, we're in love. Like they're almost trying to convince us.
Right, and, like, convince themselves,
Yeah.
and it's like and I do feel like it's such a weird thing where when you've been famous for so long and you're so used to just, like, always feeling like people are staring at you and looking at what you're doing and wanting to be you, that I just feel like it's hard to actually like be reflective with your feelings about the person. Like,
Hmm.
but we look good together. That's why it's
Yeah.
like just comparing him to like Matt Damon and his wife. And
Yeah.
it's like she's not really in the industry and you see them together sometimes, but she kind of like stays away and they're not like so in your face and they've had
Hmm.
a really long relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I know it is. But that's like he kind of got more of a normie, or like Mark Wahlberg too. They've been married for forever and she's like a normie. And like if they were with like J Lo or some, or like Kate Hudson, like would it be the same? Like I don't
Right.
know.
Right.
But yeah, also with just thinking about Beyonce and Jay-Z, it feels like with some of the couples that are like as secretive as they are, like they are so secretive about their personal life. But it almost feels like, well, now we really don't know what's going on.
I know. It's
You
like
know,
you
it's
guys even do stuff together. You don't
mhm.
know. I know. I
Yeah.
feel like Justin and Haley have like a really good balance
Yeah, but
of
then
like what
people
they
tear them
give us.
apart too. It's like
Right. But I just feel like the way they like post a little bit on social media, we do actually see them together, but then you won't see them on going to do stuff together for a really long time. And it's like, I just feel like they have like a good balance of giving us a little bit and not.
yeah, I agree. I think that they give us a little peek, but we're still like, oh, they are in love, but we don't
Right.
know everything,
Right.
which makes me think that it's more real.
Right.
I don't know, but I mean, yeah, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like with Haley and Justin, I mean, everybody's against them anyway because of the Selena thing, but it's like you post too much about how in love you are with your spouse, and it's, oh, that they're just rubbing it in our faces, and you post too little, and it's like, oh, they're on, rocky ground. It's like there's just no winning at all.
I know. And you do wonder about like the dynamics of celebrity relationships too when they're like away from each other for months and then they're
Hmm.
like making out with their co-star and for like a scene and then you have multiple houses and it's like I wonder how much time when they're both have very active careers they get to like spend together. Like I just feel like with like Amanda Seyfried and her husband, and Emma Stone and her husband, and Jennifer Lawrence and her husband. It's like they like do things in the industry kind of, but they're not the movie star. And I just wonder if that dynamic works a little bit better than having two big names like a Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, because it almost feels like they understand the industry, but they don't have as big of an ego.
Right. They're not like front and center.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's a shame. And I think it put a lot of people who were like, a second chance,
Yeah.
kind of ripped that
Well,
away.
it's like, well, there's a reason they broke up in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that came back around the second time. So
Yes.
it is crazy though when they had some old pictures posted of them back in the day. And I mean, it was just so iconic. Like their
I know,
looks
like, I'm
together.
kinda right, like, I'm kind of bummed that they couldn't, like, just stick it out or, like, make it work, like, it just is, like it was fun.
Yeah, I know. It was like a flashback.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess it is what it is. Um, what else? I don't know. That was kind of all the
Yeah. I mean,
major,
there's
like,
just, like, the Chappell Roan stuff.
oh, yeah.
Although I haven't seen, like, a ton of I mean, maybe it's just not in our algorithm of a ton of hate that she's been getting or anything, but I knew the comments were off on her videos. But, like, I don't know, I just feel like I get what she's saying, but then it's like it's such that double-edged sword thing that we were talking about, like, it's like you owe them your career, but also it's like I was thinking about it too, it's like, when you're like, "I have to go to the store," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I hope I don't see anyone I know," you know? And then
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh god." But this is like you literally don't know them, but they're gonna come up to you, and if you're having, like, a bad day or you have to go buy tampons, it's like it would suck to have, like, these random people come up to you and
Yeah, it definitely would. I can see both sides of it too. It's just for her to be so blatant and forward about it, it was just a little bit off-putting,
Yeah, it
like.
definitely was. It was like kind of aggressive. And then like again, like I see what she's saying,
Mhm.
but I think she could have even been like, that it scares me a little bit when somebody
Yeah,
random comes up to me. I think she could have been a little nicer and even just gave like a nice message to her fans. Like, if you see me, just remember, like, if I don't look happy or something, I might be having a bad day.
yeah.
Instead of being like, why would you come up to somebody? Like, that's creepy. Like, it's
Yeah,
creepy.
because okay, I think, and I sent you this in a snap a little bit earlier, but I just saw Spencer Pratt made a TikTok, and I think it was in response to this. I didn't like go back
Mhm.
and check, but I'm pretty sure it was. And he was like, somebody had commented on his post and was like, what's wrong with celebrities like being treated as normal people and having their boundaries, and let's normalize that and stuff. And he was like, sorry, but no, because they're not normal people. Like they literally are at a different level than normal people. And it is just different. And like they get so many other perks and benefits just for
Right.
being famous and who they are that normal people do not have and will never have. And it's like it's like when it made me think of, in was it Us Weekly that did the, or In Touch that did the stars are just like us, and those were always so kind of like tongue in cheek and a little bit like, oh, see, like they're famous and they get mustard on their face too. But it's
Mhm.
like, but they're not like us. Like
Right.
it is
People
so,
aren't taking my picture, getting
yeah.
mustard on my face.
Or I'm not like an actor that's putting myself out there for millions of people to see my craft, or like a musician who needs people to listen to my music and come to my concert, and or an influencer who needs somebody to look at their videos. It's like you're literally putting yourself out there because you want people to know you. So then to say, no, you don't know me, is just kind of weird. It's like mixed messaging almost.
I know, and I think it's especially like hard or whatever with musicians because they do write a lot of them write their own music and it's so personal and vulnerable, and then a fan is listening to it and they're like, oh, I really relate to these lyrics.
Yeah.
It's like they really feel like they are getting a piece of you, and like you, or they get you and everything,
Mhm.
versus like just an actor that's like playing something else. Not that it's not the same, but I just feel like with musicians
It can be
giving you their
deeper.
personal lyrics, right? And it's like that's a tricky thing too. And like for her, I mean, she kind of like went viral overnight, basically. So
Mhm.
I could see too where that'd be like shocking that it's like actually happening.
Yeah. But like
But
I said with her, I said it to you before, she kind of is at an advantage where her stage makeup is so over the top that like I don't know if I would even recognize her if she was on the street. I mean, I'm not like a crazy uber fan of hers either where I'm like
right,
digging through her stuff, but I mean, I think that that does work well for her, that maybe she wouldn't be recognized.
right. Like she could kind of throw on a hat and wear no
Mhm.
makeup, and maybe that would help.
Yeah. And I just feel like, I mean, not to just bring up Taylor Swift again, but she's just the biggest like musician right now. But like she hasn't been doing a lot because she's been touring, but like Taylor either has people that will kind of like do stuff or get stuff for her, or I know when she had mentioned kind of before, like when she was dating like Joe Alwyn, that they kind of like had secret ways of like getting around so that people wouldn't see them. Like when you're famous like that, it is easier for you to kind of make it so that you don't have to go out and do the like normal everyday things or be in the public eye if you don't want to be.
Right. Or like I hear stuff like, or like you'll see a comment and somebody's like, well, whatever, I saw this celebrity, they have a house in Connecticut or something, and I
Mhm.
see them at the local market, but I think the Hadids were just talking
Mm,
about that, where they're like, yeah, in Pennsylvania, we'll be like at the market or whatever, and people usually just kind of like leave us alone. And I feel like if you're in LA and California and stuff, it's probably like a lot different because people are out there like looking for celebrities and
yeah.
stuff. But if you are like in these smaller places, like I do think they still have the ability to live more normally in that
But
way.
that's what's interesting though too, and maybe it really is just like a difference with LA because that's such a mecca of celebrities and fame and everything. But I
Right. And like
remember
getting
like
contacts.
yeah. But I remember when I was in New York for an internship and I was going into CVS in the morning and I walked down the steps of the CVS and Andy Cohen walked by with his dog. I think I said this on the podcast before. And I was literally just like so shocked that Andy Cohen just walked in front of me that I didn't even like say anything or I didn't
Right.
even and nobody else was saying anything either. So
Right.
it's almost like I really do think that sometimes like you don't even notice them like because they
Right.
are people just doing normal things. If she like walked out with the wigs and stuff that she wears on the street, like that would be different, like people would know her because she's obviously trying to get noticed. But if she's literally just in like shorts and a t-shirt with her hair in a ponytail going to get toothpaste, like everybody's doing that, so you're not standing out at all.
Right. And I don't know if some like situation must have happened that like freaked her
Yeah.
out or something that like caused this interaction, or she saw a video. And that's what kind of sucks for like these celebrities too and influencers is like people are taking videos of you and like not giving the whole story. So I don't know if there's like a
Mhm.
video out of her where she was like being mean or somebody made a video, but
But the thing
like ugh,
is too, the fact of the matter is with the way that social media is nowadays, I mean, there could be a video of me online where I was like being rude to somebody and I didn't even know that somebody took that and put it on TikTok. Like
right,
people are videoing and taking pictures of normal people and posting them online for like whatever reason, and like we just don't have control over that anymore. Like we have fully lost control of that part of privacy in all of our lives, whether you're a celebrity or not. It's just unfortunate that if you're famous, you probably have lost more privacy than maybe or are more likely to like lose that on a larger scale than like you or I would.
right.
But I mean, I get it. It would really suck to be at a restaurant and have people ask for your picture all the time and stuff. Like that would be kind of annoying after a while.
Hmm.
But she probably could have said it in a different way.
Yeah, she definitely could have been a little less aggressive.
Yeah.
Or maybe she could have like before getting online when she was super mad too. But I guess that's a young person thing. It's like we're so, when you're young, you're like, I'm just gonna say what I want to say right now, even though I'm mad
Hmm.
right now. But I think if she would have even took a couple days, maybe she wouldn't have been mad
Yeah.
anymore and could have put out a nicer statement.
I don't even know how old she is. I would guess like early to mid 20s.
That's what I'll just look it up real fast.
Okay. Yeah.
Stand by.
Just because I saw that she was with Olivia Rodrigo too, so I'm kind of just assuming that they're about the same age.
Yeah, I would think so, and she looks really young, but I guess
Young.
that doesn't mean anything. Oh, she's 26.
Okay. That's a little older
Oh,
than I thought. Still
yeah,
young though.
it is. Anyway.
Anyway, yeah. Um, the other movie thing I wanted to say, another thing I did while I was on the plane, I watched the new version of Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal. And I kind of forgot about it, honestly. It wasn't one that I was dying to see, but I totally forgot that they even made the movie. Um, and it was, I think it would be pretty much what you would expect it to be, where it's just kind of like some really like lame, kind of kitschy jokes and lines thrown in. And some of the acting is almost like overdone. Like they've tried so hard to make it like sympathetic or relatable that it just completely didn't feel that way at all. But I was really shocked by uh, how Conor McGregor was in it because
Mhm.
I actually thought that he did a good job. like,
Mm.
like his role wasn't anything, you know, Oscar
When he
worthy. Oh,
sorry.
but he like played the kind of egotistical villain like really well, and it almost was like so impressive that it kind of overshadowed like other things in the movie for me personally.
Yeah.
But so I watched that, and then I watched the original Roadhouse, and it just like doesn't compare at all. Like when you see Patrick Swayze doing his Tai Chi, and then I forgot that Sam Elliott was in it. And oh my God, when Sam Elliott came on the screen, I like my jaw was literally on the floor. Like he just has never looked better than he did in this role. And I just forgot how much I liked the original Roadhouse. And I feel like sometimes with those like 80s movies, you know, the lines are kind of cheesy and whatever, but it almost feels more like real life because sometimes you do have those kind of like cheesy moments that happen in real life. But
Mhm.
yeah, it just, I don't know. Um, did your mom watch that? Didn't you say that
Yeah, the yeah, the remake one, and she liked it because that's her type of movie. But, like, I didn't really I've seen, like, a little bit of the first one, but it's one of those movies that my stepdad likes, so I have to reject it. Like,
Yeah, I
Forrest
get
Gump,
that.
rejected, Shawshank Redemption, rejected, Braveheart, rejected, Roadhouse,
Wow.
rejected.
I mean, I get it. They definitely fall into that like category where it's like I don't know, weird to say that it's like a huge great film, but it kind of is good. Like
Right.
but anyway, it just made me kind of just thinking about like we've talked like a million times about like how the movie industry is now where like you know when they made the original Roadhouse, obviously that was a completely different time, but I just feel like they didn't focus as much on okay, we can get these big name people in and basically rely on that for the whole movie and then throw in some punches or whatever. And that's kind of what it felt like for the new Roadhouse, where they really just relied on like the action and the names that were in it, and it just felt like oh we want to make a blockbuster.
Right, instead of, like, catering to the original fan base, like, giving them what they want.
Yeah, and the original one, it was based, I don't even remember what state it was, but it was like a country-ish area. It might have been like Kansas City or something. I could be wrong on that. But which I think that environment made more sense for like these rough and tumble like bar fights. Whereas this new one was in Key West.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it was. And it didn't
A
really
nice area.
yeah, and this bar was really rough and it just didn't fit to me at all.
Hmm.
So, but whatever. I was just it was entertaining, but it definitely was not like the original. And Jake Gyllenhaal, that's the other thing too. And we talked about this with like other like not to just talk about like the male figure, but when like Roadhouse, the original one was out, like yeah, Patrick Swayze looked amazing, but his body looked like a normal kind of like attainable body that was just like fit. And then you watch this and you look at like Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor, and it's just like mind blowing. Like, I can't even understand how they trained to look the way that they look. Like, it is just another level.
Hmm.
But anyway, that was just, that's what I did on the plane, just watch those three movies. So. Did you have any other like timely topics that you wanted to discuss?
No.
Okay, guys, it's no secret that Hannah and I have a sweet tooth, but we hate the guilt that we feel after we've binged on some of our favorite cookies, donuts, or other treats. So that's where dough comes in. Dough is an edible cookie dough company that also has donut holes and some delicious chocolate hazelnut spreads that you can eat and not feel so guilty afterwards. These treats are made with extra ingredients that are good for you, gives you extra energy, makes you focus more, and the best part is that they are vegan and gluten-free, which is so amazing and something that you don't find all the time. And sometimes when you get vegan or gluten-free products, they taste vegan and gluten-free. But these dough, cookie doughs, and donut holes do not skimp out on the flavor, and they are so delicious. We have tried the cookie dough raw and baked, and it's good either way. And one of our favorite new donut holes are the collab donut holes with Chamberlain coffee, and it's the cinnamon sugar. And these are just so amazing. You want to eat them with your favorite cup of coffee in the morning. They're just so delicious. And the best part is that they come with some extra vitamins in there to, get your day going and help you focus a little bit more. So if you want to try these vegan, gluten-free, and delicious products, you can go to Eat Dough, and that's spelled DEUX.com to place an order. And if you use the code WaterBottle15, you can get an extra 15% off of whatever you order. That is dough, spelled DEUX, and use WaterBottle15 for 15% off.
Okay. So do you want to just talk about Orange County?
Sure.
Okay, so we didn't we're like 2 episodes behind. Really the only thing from what was episode 5, they had like the horrible dinner party where Tamra really aggressively laid into Shannon. And we've talked about it. I do think that Tamra probably does know more about everything with Shannon because I think she just has been there for her for a long time and whatever. But the way that she's going about this in such an aggressive manner and just like ruthlessly attacking Shannon is just really sad and seems really counterproductive.
Yeah, it's just evil. Her being evil. Like she's done nothing wrong ever.
Right. And just the way, I mean, how she was just ruthless at that dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
And then
It's like public humiliation.
yeah, it was. And then when Alexis kind of came with the receipts about the money thing, it's like, geez, can we just like lay off a little bit? Like Shannon's just going through the freaking ringer. And then I think it was just today that the mid-season trailer was released, and it doesn't really seem like things are going to fully let up with that. Like we do get some other stuff, other storylines that are coming in, but like Tamra still is going for the jugular, which doesn't surprise me because this is what she always does, but you know. And then with last week's episode, we could still have Emily kind of getting really mad with Jen about the money thing, and she makes some comments about like her having a Rolex and stuff. And then I don't think that scene with Emily kind of going at Jen at that dinner party was in the original episode before, was it?
I don't think so, because I didn't remember seeing it when they were showing the flashbacks.
Me either, but they kind of acted like they had, so I was
It
confused.
was in the long version or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even know if they're still doing that for every episode or
Oh.
not.
Hmm.
I don't know. But yeah. And like we said before, I do think that it's not really a good look to be, flaunting a Rolex when you say that you can't afford your rent. Like,
Right.
I get that. But again, the way that they're just mercilessly going at her about being poor essentially is just so mean.
I know, and it's so privileged. It's like, well, I hope all your money is coming from, ethical places and that it doesn't get ripped out from underneath of you.
I know, seriously. And even when they're like, or Tamra and Emily were like, well, I just like to be independent and I don't want to be reliant on a man for this stuff. Okay, well, good for you. I'm glad that you didn't ever need to be in that position. But
Right.
clearly, that isn't the way things were for Jen. And it is hard to get back on your feet after being in that situation for so long.
Right.
And then the Gina Heather kind of, I don't even know, would you call it a fight? Like, I don't even know what this is still going on. And Gina says that Heather is just sensitive. And I just think this whole thing is really dumb. And I get where Heather is coming from. I think that Gina was trying to play like every side of the field on this one, and I think that she did set Katie up completely.
Yeah, I definitely think she set Katie up. Not a good look.
No, but it's because again, like Gina just constantly looks for like a storyline, and she wants to kind of stir the pot, and because I don't know, maybe her life isn't interesting enough on its own, so she has to have some type of drama with somebody. I don't know. Um, the one thing I thought was funny, like Jen and Tamra are talking, and Tamra was like, or I mean, Jen was like, last year I had some issues with Tamra, and she just like goes really hard on people, and now she's going really hard on Shannon. And luckily, we've been able to move beyond that, but it took some time, and that's something that Tamra really needs to work on. And it just kind of made me giggle because it's just sweet Jen, like this is literally Tamra's MO, and it has been since basically her beginnings on this show, that she has to have somebody to like tear apart. And
Mhm.
she's told us that she's changed before, and it was a lie. So,
Yep.
and I kind of liked how they did two separate little trips. Like it
I know,
felt,
it felt more authentic than forcing all these people that are mad at each other in a building just to make them uncomfortable.
yeah. And I mean, it made sense with Tamara having her place in Big Bear, and then I mean, Gina, her thing didn't really make a lot of sense because she seemed to immediately regret having them come to this house, even though the owner of the house was there and told them they could stay. Like, I thought that whole thing was weird. But yeah, I think it felt more real and natural to have them separated like that. What else? Oh, on the way to Big Bear, Alexis is just like talking their ear off about Johnny J, which was kind of funny. Um, I don't know what else. There was just, this is where Tamra fully turns against Shannon when Alexis is FaceTiming with John Jansen, and she goes, well, we've always liked you, and Eddie and I have never had a problem with you. And then in the confessional, I think she goes, like, I know a lot of other things about the situation and how Shannon was in the relationship. It's like, for the love of God, like, why are you trying to continuously kick this woman when she's down? Like, there's no reason to suddenly befriend her ex at this point.
I know, I know, it's like such a betrayal. Like when Shannon sees that, it's gonna not be well.
I can't see how their friendship is coming back from this.
Right.
What I mean, who knows? We're probably going to eat our words on that like next season or something. But it just seems like this stuff is cutting pretty deep. Um, and then we just have like the culmination of like the Gina Heather stuff, and then Emily kind of brings up how Gina was kind of talking behind her back too, and then that just turns into a whole thing where basically I think Gina has just like dug herself a hole, and she's been talking out of both sides of her mouth to different people, and it's now just coming back to bite her, and I don't think she really knows how to handle it.
I know. I know she doesn't have the backbone that Tamra does to like stand firm on what she says to people when she
Mm-hmm.
starts the drama.
Yeah, and I also don't think that she's a very good liar. And Tamra literally will,
Is
yes, like she will just lie, and you'll have yourself questioning like what's real. And then I guess the only other like big thing was, then they say at the end that John Jansen has that ring cam footage or whatever footage of Shannon the night of her DUI, and that he's allegedly threatening to release it. And I believe that it probably is pretty bad. I mean, how could that be good? Like there's no
right.
way. But it's like it's unnecessary that something like that would get leaked. I'm guessing that it doesn't get leaked at all because we haven't heard about it, right?
Right.
Like,
I don't think so.
um, but, and not that it's right, but I do see where, like, Shannon has been like saying pretty negative things about him since they broke up. And not that like there's no reason for him to retaliate. And I really don't think anybody cares about his reputation except for him and Alexis. But I can just see where in their little like minds where they're like, I need to clear my name, like it feels very like Teresa Giudice and Louis, like that,
Mhm.
and it's not really necessary at all. And Alexis is just supporting her man, which we said too. I know that a lot of people are saying that Alexis being back on this season has been kind of a flop, but like we've both said to each other that we're kind of like enjoying it. Like it's been kind of fun, I think.
Yeah, just I love the unhingedness of it. And then they're like, "Oh, she talks too much, blah blah blah." It's like because she wasn't allowed to have any kind of personality or anything when she was with her ex. So it's like, yeah, she's feeling hot. She's got a new man and she's back on the show. So yeah, she's happy.
How could you not be feeling good too if
Right.
like you think this is the relationship to end all relationships and now you're back on this show and back in the spotlight? Like if that's what you wanted, of course you're going to be thrilled.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of fun to have her in the mix, and it is, yeah, it's just kind of unhinged. But it's not like, I know that this stuff with John Jansen, it's like obviously heavy stuff between him and Shannon, but like her kind of talking about their sex life or like that they got a promise ring, whatever, like that stuff isn't hurtful to any, like on a big level. Obviously it's emotionally kind of a knife in the heart to Shannon, but it's not like as awful as some of the other things that have been said and done on this show. So I honestly feel like it's kind of lighthearted.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of just like a funnish thing, but I guess we'll see how that ends up
Yeah.
going.
I know we might be eating our words again on that one.
Right.
It could go a whole different way.
Hmm.
But in the mid-season trailer, it looked like Shannon says that she's doing that Europe trip, and she texts Alexis and she's like, I just want to make it clear that you are not invited. So, which I was a little confused because when Shannon said a couple episodes ago about her like DUI and stuff, did she just say that she like couldn't go to Mexico? Like why would she not be able to go to Mexico?
I don't know. Who knows what she's talking about?
And then I didn't get that. I'm like, did I but why wouldn't you be able to? And then I'm like, well, is it something about not being able to go abroad? But then they go to London, so I didn't get that
Who?
at all. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It'll be kind of fun to see a trip like that because a lot of times they're just going to like a resort or something, but this will be in like the city and they'll be doing more activities. And I think it'll be kind of entertaining to watch.
Hmm.
Okay, well, that was kind of all that I had. I don't really have any other topics to discuss.
No.
We did decide that we are going to be doing our book club episode next week. So that is with that hits, flops, and other illusions by Zwick. So for our loyal listeners who love our book club and have been waiting or reading along, please get ready for that next week. And then I did What are you still on the wait list for Rebel Wilson's book?
Yeah, but I've delayed it a couple times, so I'm sure it'll be back soon.
That was the weird thing for me because I delayed it a few times too, and then it just like I checked the app the one day and it said I was still like fourth in line, and then all of a sudden the next day I got the book.
Yeah, I know, and then you never know, like, if the person in front of you is gonna, like, fly through it.
Yeah. Or did they delay it? Like, so
Right, and they didn't want to yet.
I think that we'd probably be safe to do that one next, though. Do you think?
Oh, yeah, it looks like I can get it now.
Oh, what the heck? That's sometimes I wonder if the app just wants to see if you're still interested. And then
I
it's
know,
like,
you're like, "You keep delaying that."
yeah. Okay, so I think that'll be a good next one for us then, since we both can listen to that at the same time.
Yes.
And then I was gonna start it actually today. I went to the gym just to like walk really quick. And I brought my AirPods. I literally left the house. I checked that they were charged. It popped up on my phone that they were charged. I get to the gym, open them up, and it's fully dead.
That's weird.
I know. So I couldn't start that, but I'm going to start it soon. So um I don't know. I don't even know. I guess my recommendation would be to watch the two Roadhouse movies and compare them because it was interesting to watch them back to back. You don't have to because you're boycotting, I understand.
I mean, maybe there's a space now that I've been moved out long enough, but
Probably not.
right. Well, I'm just gonna recommend reading the Hits, Flops, and Other Illusions so you're ready for that episode when it comes out.
Nice. Overall, I did like the book, so I think it was interesting, and I think it would be something interesting for somebody to read who knows about the entertainment industry. So it was a random pick, but I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
That's a little teaser for next week, guys, about our thoughts on the book. All right. Well, with that, thank you for listening. Please make sure to give us a follow, find us on socials, give us reviews or ratings or comments, and tell your friends about us. And we will see you next week.
Bye.